So we are continuing on, Lisa, in the Be Healed book on, this is episode 8. So we're beginning chapter 4, which is called The Beloved Son, on pages 55 through 61.
Yes, and it tells us that we are not the sum of our weaknesses and failures, that we are the sum of the Father's love for us and our real capacity to become the image of his Son, which is what St. John Paul II said. And it ties into our previous book on identity.
Yeah, and what we believe about ourselves and our hearts becomes our identity, like you just said. And this, in turn, shapes everything in and around our life, Lisa.
Yes, and because of our baptism, we are already saints. So why do we hang on to our old identities, which are based on the accusations of the devil?
Yes, Lisa, tell us why you keep holding on to your old identities.
Because sometimes it's hard to connect the head and the heart.
But you've had your head and your heart connected many times, yet you still will fall into this identity trap, as you have said over the last month.
Yes.
If you don't mind me calling you out, because I think you are a perfect example of this.
Okay.
See, what is it? So sometimes our environment, right?
Yes, yeah.
And those lies that we listen to about who we are, they're not really fully healed in you, are they?
No, obviously not.
Right. Because if they were, then...
I wouldn't be struggling.
Right. So Lisa, if you don't mind me saying.
Okay.
So Lisa's been spending a lot of time alone at work and at home. And so she feels like she's isolated and by herself. And I said, I probably spend as much time, if not more time, by myself as well. But I don't think about it or perceive it the same way that you do.
Well, I think it's outside of what I'm used to. So it's different when you have to go from being able to have the time to reach out to people and spend time with people, and then you're required, just because of what I've said yes to somewhere where I'm not able to do that.
Yeah, and it's like it's there's always these competing identities we have, right? One, that you are beloved, and that what's actually happening when you're at home is an opportunity for solitude, to spend time with God, right?
Yeah, but I think it's hard because I have to work, I think it's more difficult to have solitude.
Right, and I've encouraged you to offer that, for prayers for other people, and to even offer that as a sacrifice or mortification, right? But because of things in our character, things that have happened to us in the past, the consequences of sin in other people's lives and our lives, we can easily, as Lisa is saying, listen to these other lies. And it's not just true of Lisa, it's true of me or anybody else. I mean, I just got some phone calls from my mom and my sister that I did not answer. And there's always that part of me that says, well, maybe you should be answering these calls. But there's another part of me, which I believe is my true identity, that I have to hold true that God has got them and that I can't enable them. So the struggle goes on for all of us. So Jesus at his baptism, right? The skies open up and the Father expresses his unconditional love and his delight, right, in Jesus, not because of his performance, but because of who he is. Any thoughts on that, Lisa?
Well, the Father expresses his unconditional love for us also. I was just talking to somebody about something that I came across about God having disappointment in us. That was somebody's opinion, and I don't think God is disappointed in us, despite what we do. I think he's hurt by us.
Right.
But I don't think he's disappointed in us because he created us and he sees the goodness that's reflected in us, which comes from him. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, and he wants to assist us with that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And he because we're also hurt too in a lot of that. So it's not just God that's being hurt.
Sure.
It's us that's being hurt because something is masking over who we truly are. I mean, we have to remember that by virtue of our baptism, right? We are united with Jesus as God the Father's beloved sons and daughters as well. And so we don't have to doubt, right, the Father's love.
Right.
As you just said, he delights in us no matter what because he created us. But Lisa, I would say this is true. often you might struggle, or I might struggle, in letting God love us.
Oh, sure. Yes.
That's it?
No, I think that's a true struggle. I think it's sometimes hard to receive. I think it's sometimes hard to believe that God sees us how he does, because we see ourselves in a different light.
Exactly. That's why I love always asking, okay, how do you see yourself? How do others see you? And how does God see you?
Yes.
And oftentimes all three of those are very different, right?
Yes.
Because our fallen humanity wants to take us back to that spirit of slavery, back into fear.
Yeah.
And God doesn't want us to live in fear.
Captivity.
Yeah, we just have to remember we are beloved children. We have received the spirit of adoption. We can call God Abba Father, Daddy, or whatever term of endearment that we want.
Yes.
I am Deacon Dave.
I am layperson Lisa.
See you next time.
Bye.